tribe. Um, as these compacts have gone, it's pretty unremarkable in as far as issues or contentious. There really wasn't anything noteworthy about it, except for the fact that it has taken a very long time. The initial outreach by the tribe to begin the compacting process was initiated in November of 2017. Um, and as I said, there weren't really big issues to work through, but there was a lot of turnover on the tribe's part, on our part. Um, if you count me as a pinch hitting tribal liaison, I'm the fourth one who's worked on this compact. So, but the important thing is we all stuck with it, and it is ready to go. The tribe signed it last week, and they are looking forward to joining you tomorrow at the board meeting.
Great. Member Huggy, anything as our tribal lead to add or?
No, Jim outlined the history accurately. In this particular instance, there were other issues of delay. You know, as you know, we're not the only agency to speak on the appropriateness of a compact, and we had Chris did yeoman service breaking some log jams in other agencies, and I really appreciate the Shoalwater Bay's tribes patience in doing this. Um, as Jim says, that this is not something that was delayed because of some legal issues or some novel theories that were put forward. This was just the two parties working, and we finally got it done.
That's great. Well, glad you all stuck to it. All right. Anything else for us, Jim, on this, or we'll just go through it tomorrow and it'll be up for approval tomorrow, right?
Yes. I'll see you tomorrow then.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will now do our prep for tomorrow's board meeting and get rulemaking updates and a few corrections from our team. And I'm going to just ask Kathy Hoffman, the Policy and Rules Manager, to walk us through this part and call on your staff to get us through. Hello.
Great. Good morning. Can you see me and hear me okay?
You bet.
Okay. So good morning, Chair Postman, board members Garrett and Hauge. Filling in for Jeff Kildall this morning. Typically, pardon me, he would give you a general rules update on the cannabis side of our rulemaking. So I'll do that this morning and then hand it over to Audrey for alcohol rule updates. But with respect to the quality control rules, we're still working with Oriya on finalizing our contract for an economist to take a look at our rule proposal that is almost done. We're doing a little bit more internal review, adding a few additional definitions, so that should be ready for release. I'm hoping by the end of the month, if not early September, and then we'll be able to begin our economic analysis as well, working with the contractor. For cannabis licensing background checks, public hearing is still scheduled for August 18th. We have not received any comments to date on the CR 102 package. So perhaps there'll be some public comment during the public hearing, but at this point, there have been no written comments received. And then the THC isomer and compound CR 101, as you know, that was filed on July 7th. We received a couple of comments on it so far. I'm almost done with the draft, and we'll be able to share that with our regulated community and others towards the middle of August. And I do plan on scheduling a listen and learn session either late August or early September. So we're making great progress on those rules moving forward. And that is the extent of cannabis rulemaking updates for now. Any questions?
Not for me. No, don't see any.
Great. All right. Thank you. I'll hand it over to Audrey.
Thanks, Kathy, and good morning, Chair Postman and board members. I have a few brief updates on the alcohol rulemaking timelines and some board prep for tomorrow. So for my first update, the rule project to implement 2021 legislation engrossed Second Substitute House Bill 1480 related to the COVID-19 alcohol allowances. A listen and learn session on the conceptual draft rules for the alcohol to go endorsements is scheduled for this Thursday, August 5th from 1 to 4. It will be held virtually via Microsoft Teams. After the listen and learn session, we will compile and review the public feedback received and consider any revisions suggested. The internal rule drafting work group is still working on developing rules for the outdoor alcohol service areas and food service requirements. We've met a total of 10 times so far and are on track to complete conceptual draft rules later this month. I anticipate holding a second listen and learn session in late August on the outdoor service areas and food service requirements piece and anticipate preparing a CR 102 package for the board to consider in late September. For the rule project to create summary suspension and stay provisions, at tomorrow's board meeting, I will ask for approval to withdraw the CR 101. For background, the CR 101 was filed on April 14th of this year to consider permanent rulemaking to replace our emergency rules WAC 31412, 250, and 275. Those rules establish summary license suspension and petition for stay provisions for the enforcement of governor's proclamations issued as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The board originally adopted these emergency rules in April of 2020 after Governor Inslee issued a series of COVID-19 emergency proclamations and guidance affecting establishments licensed by the board. During the CR 101 public comment period from April 14th through June 2nd, the agency received 65 comments in opposition to the permanent rulemaking project, and those comments are included in the public comment table attached to the withdrawal memo. With the statewide economic reopening on June 30th, 2021, and the expiration of the emergency rules on July 15th, agency staff do not believe a rulemaking project on this subject is necessary at this time. So if the board approves withdrawal of the CR 101 tomorrow, I will file it with the code revisor for publication in the state register, update the web page, and send notice to stakeholders through Gov Delivery. I also have one last update on the rule project related to alternating proprietorships for distilleries and craft distilleries. At tomorrow's board meeting, I will ask for approval to withdraw the CR 101 for this project as well. For background, this rulemaking project was initiated by filing a CR 101 on November 13th, 2019, to consider creating alternating proprietorship requirements for distilleries and craft distilleries. On the same date, the board adopted Board Interim Policy 16/2019, clarifying these requirements. During the CR 101 public comment period from November 13th, 2019 through January 4th, 2020, no comments were received, although 2 comments in opposition to the CR 101 were received after the comment period closed, and those comments are included in the public comment table attached to the withdrawal memo. So during the time period that the BIP or Board Interim Policy has been in place from November 2019 to present, no distillery or craft distillery licensees have applied for approval of an alternating proprietorship arrangement. As a result, agency staff do not believe a rulemaking project for alternating proprietorships is necessary at this time. As with the previous CR 101, if the board approves withdrawal tomorrow, I'll file it with the code revisor, send out notice through Gov Delivery, and update the web page. So that includes my updates for today, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Member Hauge?
Audrey, on the alternating proprietorships, I understand that there's if we don't need to do the work, we shouldn't spend our time doing the work. But if we do get a request, things pick up again, and this sector of the market starts to show some more vigor. Is this something we will respond to with another interim policy, or will the interim policy still have effect? How will we deal with that situation?
Great question. Thank you, Member Hauge. The board interim policy will remain in place, so the existing one will still be up on the website and in effect. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, I think that was the only question. Anything else, Ms. Vasek?
No, that's it for me today. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now we do have two corrections to discuss. Is that Kathy Hoffman, are you gonna come and take us through? Yes, there you are.
Yes, thanks. Thanks again. I will do the correction concerning the board adoption document regarding evaluating THC compounds. Brought that to you on the 7th, and after it was signed, we realized that the effective date in the table had not been updated. And it referenced, I believe, November 12th effective date, when I had listed that I would not bring the CR 102, I'm sorry, CR 103 to you any earlier than November 24th. So the document before you today makes only the change of an appropriate effective date consistent with when we would bring a CR 103 to you. So that would be November 24th. And then the rules would be effective on December 25th. So that's the only change we're bringing to you today with this particular document. Our apologies for
that. Just because this was essentially a typo that
Yes,
created an effective date prior to when we're going to complete rulemaking, and we're just going to change that one number, correct?
absolutely correct.
And we've consulted with counsel on it, about the right way to do this. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions about this correction? If not, we do need to take a vote on this. So if there's a motion to approve the correction to the CR 101 for evaluating THC compounds.
This is Ali. I move to approve the correction.
And this is Member Hauge. I'll second that motion.
Terrific. Okay, then that is approved for the correction. Thank you for that. And then I think Dustin is here to take us to the next one. Dustin?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Chair Postman, members, Garrett and Hauge. In going through some of the materials, I also noticed an error from the July 7th board meeting. It was a Scrivener's error. It's not substantial or doesn't have any bearing to the approval that Mr. Kildall brought forward for the 102 for criminal history background checks. His presentation cited WAC 314-55-040. All the documents cite 314-55-040. However, on the actual agenda for the board meeting, there was a typographical error that listed the WAC as 315-55-040. And so when we made the motion was to approve the CR 102 for WAC 315-55-040. And it doesn't change anything on the timeline. It doesn't change any of the context of the rules as presented. In consulting with our counsel, it's non-substantive, and so we don't need a motion for it. Just acknowledgement that the minutes that are up for consideration for that meeting tomorrow will be listed as 315-55-040 with a correction to 314-55-040 noted in the approval, just for record keeping purposes, because if you go back and listen to the recording, we did say out loud 315, even though everything else is referenced to 314.
Yeah, great. Okay. Duly noted. Appreciate that. Any questions for Dustin on this correction? No. Okay. Thank you, Dustin. I'll just, since you're here, any executive assistant report to add to that?
Nothing additional for me. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Dustin. And then last item then would be any board member reports. Anything from Member Hauge or Member Garrett to share today?
This is Russ Hauge. I have nothing. Thank you.
This is Ali. I have nothing.
Okay, great. Well, then we shall adjourn. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow for the board meeting. Have a nice day.